The first Democratic presidential debate is happening tomorrow, and like many, I'm expecting a great debate in between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, but they won't be the only two candidates. We have Martin O'Malley, Jim Webb, and Lincoln Chafee. All of them, 5 very slim field, but all of them managed to poll at 1% or higher in at least 3 polls from August to last Sunday. Margaret, it's going to be a compact debate, maybe not as entertaining as a Republican, but many things are going to get defined, and we're going to see the real face of the candidates and the main plate, Bernie Sanders versus Hillary Clinton.
Lincoln Chafee, it's like you would almost have to, anybody watching this would have to Google that. It's like, it's interesting. You're absolutely right. It comes down to these two. You know, we have an establishment candidate forced to address the populist who's largely unknown prior. I mean, he was always known, obviously. He's been a senator for decades. But my point is that, you know, in the mainstream national wildfire, situation that's happening around Bernie Sanders right now, she has to face him. And it's interesting. I'm definitely going to watch it. I know you are. You're probably going to TiVo it.
I will. You know, it's a very important moment for the Democratic campaigns. We'll talk, we know a lot about Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. We cover them quite a bit. I want to talk about Martin O'Malley and the bottom 3 because those are the guys that people might not be familiar with. Martin O'Malley, former city councilman and mayor of Baltimore, 2-term governor of Maryland. He's trying to make a difference, trying to take away some of the voters of Bernie Sanders. He's been really, really active, reaching out to immigration activists, into the Latino community, and attacking Bernie Sanders on his gun control record. So his goal, in my opinion, is to try to get some of that representation that Bernie Sanders has gained so quickly, and make a point that he is a right progressive Democrat.
You know, it's so funny. The Washington Post, they released an article a few hours ago. Who is Lincoln Chafee? Because that's hilarious. Most people don't know outside of Rhode Island that he was a former governor of Rhode Island. You know, it's like they have to scramble to get a bio together, presuming that, anticipating this debate so that people just know who's debating outside of the two.
Because he's an independent. He was a Republican, then he was an independent. A lot of the analysts are saying that his only goal is to encrust himself as a talking head, as a third-way talking head. Now, we have Jim Webb. Jim Webb is the Reagan Democratic candidate. He's the one that is more in touch with the rural white representation of the Democratic Party that they're losing quickly. Now,
we have a word for that where I come from. It's called a blue dog. So that's what that is.
Former military, very strong, very hawkish in foreign policy. But still, they're trying to make the race more diverse, but at this point, I think it's only a two-horse race at this point.
What do you make of Joe Biden not jumping in right now?
I think he's respectful. I think that although he was promised a spot.
I think it's fear. You think it's respect?
I think it's respect of the norms, and being an elected official, he seems like it's easy for him just to get a seat. I think if he declared his candidacy, I think he should be there. But without coming forward and defining if he's running or not, I think it will only be a trick. That brings me forward to a couple of controversies that have poured around this debate. The first one is, like you mentioned, a lot of people don't know who this Lincoln Chafee is, but there's another guy that you might not know, Lessig, that we cover him. He's a former Harvard professor and now a campaign finance activist. His platform is get me elected, I'll make one rule where we're going to take the money out of politics, and then I'm going to quit, I'm going to let my vice president run. He actually polled in 3 different polls at 1%, but CNN said, you know what, there's no room for you at this table. I think that's kind of weird. Also, one of the main problems that the Democratic field has is that they won't have enough debates. I was reading an article back in 2008. By the time that the first vote was casted in Iowa, there has been already 26 debates between Hillary Clinton and Obama. And this is the very first one a few months before that. So we see that the exposure levels that Obama had were way higher, giving this unknown candidate at the time the edge to be known. Now, Bernie Sanders and these 3 bottom candidates, they don't have that luxury. They're going to have to hash it out in one. And those who were advocating for more debates, specifically the vice chair of the party, of the Democratic Party, was disinvited. She was disinvited to the debate because of her voicing of the need for more debates. What do you think?
You know, I think Bernie is a really strong debater,
yeah.
and he makes points that are really fundamental, and he's easy to understand. And I think that's going to be her challenge. But my question is this debate even going to make a difference? Like, is anybody even going to, is it going to really matter at this point? You know, Al Jazeera, they just covered this, so that was the headline of their question. Does this debate even matter at this point? Because we only have these two primary contenders. There needs to be...
There needs to be more. It's unlike the Republican debate, where a lot of the polls change and the numbers poll, and we have, you know, the rise of Fiorina and Ben Carson after their debates. Here, I think it's just going to create a deeper divide on those who are already decided for Hillary and those who are divided by... I think Hillary has more to lose than Bernie. I think Hillary has some voters that might listen to Bernie's ideas for the first time. Also, some will think that he is too far to the left, and we need a candidate that it's more to the center and is able to get elected for president, which is a concern of many Democrats. But we want to know your opinion. Please share it below. Are you excited for this debate? It's going to happen on CNN. Check it out. We'll be discussing it later this week. And please subscribe if you haven't to the Lip TV.